All right, we're steamrolling right through the solving equations unit. We have section 3.2 today, solving two-step equations, and that's kind of our target today, is just the ability to solve two-step equations. Remember our inverse operations. The opposite of addition is subtraction, and I'm going to be lazy here. You can too. The opposite of subtraction is addition. Okay, the opposite of multiplication is division, and division being multiplication. That's how we undo all those operations. We're going to be doing more of that today. Here's the only tricky part, is that, and you'll be doing this, trust me, this is the number one thing that I was good at when I was in high school and even on into college, and it's kind of why I decided to go with math as my career in college, is that I could solve equations really well, and it didn't take me a whole lot of thought or hardly any time. So the better you get at this, the more practice you get. I would encourage you that even if, like in this section, even if you don't fail wow, I can't even think. Even if you don't fail the mastery challenge, I'd look at doing some of those additional practice problems just to get more practice, be better at it, and the better you are at it, the quicker you get, and the quicker, the more fun that you have with it. And I know, how can math be fun, Mr. Gall? You're pulling my chain. Not really. Okay, if you try hard and you get this stuff down, it actually gets kind of fun to see what challenge can arise. All right. But here's the tricky part with solving equations of two steps or more. Last time we dealt with one-step equations, which there wasn't a lot of thought behind it. Whatever was happening to x, I wanted to undo that. Well, I still want to undo that, but I want to do it in a specific order. And in fact, it's in the order of operations. If you remember order of operations, PEMDAS. Okay, and so this is just when you're looking for when you're simplifying. So when simplifying, or evaluating, or anything like that. So we use PEMDAS when we're simplifying, but when we're solving, we use this same order of operations, but we flip it on its side, or flip it over. Okay, and it turns from PEMDAS to SADMAP. Okay, it's awesome when we can just flip something over and make up a brand new word. Okay, so we go from PEMDAS to SADMAP. Instead of looking at parentheses, exponents, multiplication and division, addition and subtraction, we go with subtraction and addition. Or, you can still flip these and think addition and subtraction. These two are still kind of grouped together. These two are still kind of grouped together. And then exponents and parentheses. We won't be seeing many of these throughout our work here. We really just kind of work one step at a time. And the thing that I always tell people, if you look at this, let's just look at the first example to kind of make this point here. It says that I want to do subtraction and addition first. That's way over here. Okay? And the way I think of it is I'm peeling things away from the x. So I'm getting rid of that, I'm getting rid of that, getting rid of that. And I always start, I think of peeling an onion and trying to get all the way to the middle. Okay, if I'm going to peel an onion and get all the way to the middle, I have to start with the thing farthest away from the middle and get it out of the way. That's what we're going to do here. All right, I'm going to pull that -3 off of there by subtracting it. All right, I have x over 2. 19 minus 3 is 16. And now I still have something else happening to this x. It's being divided by 2, so I'll multiply it by 2. Multiply by 2 on both sides. Make sure you do everything on both sides. And x equals 32. 16 times 2 is 32. Okay? So really what I'm looking at doing is I'm looking at taking the thing that's farthest away, but still on the same side as the variable, and moving that over. Starting pulling away those different layers of things happening to that variable, and seeing about solving equations as I go. Okay, so here's my variable. What's the farthest thing away? It's that 3.2. Since it's positive, I'm going to subtract it. Minus 3.2 on both sides. Everything's on both sides still. Okay, those cancel each other out. And I get x over 2.5 equals 1.4. That's 4.6 minus 3.2. If you don't trust me, use a calculator. It's fine. Okay, again, we're dealing with decimals. Most of the time when I get decimals, I run for a calculator. I don't want to think that hard. Okay, and that's what the calculator is programmed to do. Since that x is being divided by 2.5, I'm going to multiply by 2.5 on both sides. Those cancel because there's one on the top and one on the bottom. And I'm left with x on the left side. 1.4 times 2.5. I'm telling you right now, I went straight for a calculator. Got 3.5. Okay. So, yeah, that's just multiplying rational numbers, but still, make your life a little bit easier whenever you can. Okay. So the biggest thing here that I want to keep track of is my order of operations. Okay. Doing subtraction and addition. Undo that. Undo it on both sides. Okay. 5 minus 5 is 0. 3x equals negative 10 minus 5 is negative 15. Divide by 3 to get rid of that 3 happening to the x. Those cancel out, and we get that x equals negative 15 divided by 3 is, thank you, negative 5. Okay. Now, some of the ones down below are a little bit tougher. We haven't seen a whole lot, and there will be a chance for you to try some on your own later. But I want you to go ahead and pause the video and see if you can at least do the first one. That's just like, I don't know, that's just like the first one that we did here. Try this one, and if you can't get the other two, don't worry, just go back on the video. All right, welcome back. Okay, hopefully we got these. Minus 9 on both sides. N over 2 equals 12 minus 9 is 3. I'm going to multiply by 2 on both sides to get rid of that. Hold on, I've got to cross off those 9s. Cross off those 2s. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 equals n. Okay. Now, here's one that's a little bit tricky because there are parentheses involved. But as I look at this, the first thing that I want to do is any addition and subtraction that's outside of those parentheses. Notice parentheses in the order is way down the road. In fact, it's the last thing you do. Okay, it is the last thing you do. So instead of doing that subtraction or addition, I first need to peel this 10 off, and then I actually won't have parentheses. So I'm going to peel that 10 off. It's going to cancel out when I divide it on both sides. Okay, and I'm left with negative 3 plus g. Notice I don't have parentheses anymore. There's no reason to because nothing is happening to that negative 3 plus g. Negative 30 divided by 10 is negative 3. I'll add 3 to both sides. Those will cancel out. I will have g equals negative 3 plus 3 is 0. It's okay to have your answer be 0. Okay, it's just as common as anything else. All right, now in this problem, there is another set of parentheses. Anything where you have a fraction bar, okay? In fact, just like this problem, there's actually a hidden set of parentheses around the top, okay? So we do have parentheses in this problem, even though they're not really there. Okay, the way that I get to that W is I need to piece away one thing at a time. I'm going to get rid of this 7. How do I undo dividing by 7? Yeah, multiply by 7 on both sides. Those 7s cancel out. Love canceling things out. Makes me feel powerful. Now, again, I don't need those parentheses because it's just W minus 1 equals 1 times 7 is 7. I'll add 1 to both sides to get rid of that minus 1. Bam, get rid of it. And W equals 8. All right, go ahead and turn the page. What we're going to do here, it kind of talks about, these are two-step equations, but there's a little bit of stuff that we have to do first, okay? And basically all that is, we're going to be combining like terms and then solving, okay? This is kind of advanced for this section, but you guys can do it. We've combined like terms before, and we've solved equations before, okay? So we're just going to combine those two steps. All right, so combine like terms first. I have a -14 and a 4. Okay, we're not talking about combining like terms. We're talking about like terms on the same side. Okay, here I have 2x minus 14 plus 4 is -10 equals 10. I'm going to add 10 to both sides. Hold on a sec. I'm going to add 10 to both sides. Okay, cross those out. They're done. I have 2x equals 20. 10 plus 10 is 20. Yay! Divide by 2 to get rid of that multiplied by 2. Bam, bam. And x equals 20 divided by 2 is 10. Okay, that's our answer. Not bad, right? Okay, it looks kind of confusing. It looks like a tough problem, but when it's all said and done, it's still just a two-step equation. There's a little bit of simplifying going on first. All right, let's look at the next one. I have a 2j minus a 4j. Okay, 2j kind of sounds like blue jay. All right, 2j minus 4j is -2j plus 10 equals 12. I need to get rid of this 10, and then I'll deal with the -2j. So subtract 10, bam, bam, cross them out. -2j equals 12 minus 10 is 2. Divide by -2, divide by -2. Okay, make sure you are dividing by the negative, otherwise your answer won't be correct. But we have j equals 2 divided by -2 is -1. Make sure that you're watching as I'm going through these problems, because if you just look up at this now, God, it just looks like a cluster of a bunch of stuff going on here. I don't know where this -2 came from, or that and that -10. It's confusing. I get it. Okay, but watch. I mean, if you have to, rewind and go watch it again. Follow it step by step. It makes it a lot easier. All right, this next problem, we have fractions. Oh boy. All right, I notice I have x terms here, and I have, these are just number terms here. And the right-hand side is pretty easy. It just has one number, so I don't have to worry about that. So I notice with my x terms, I have a half and a fourth. I'm going to just kind of get rid of that, and instead of making a new step, I'm going to get common denominators right here. So instead of 1/2, I'm going to look at that as 2/4. Because remember, to add or subtract fractions, you need common denominators. And for common denominators on the numbers over here, 3/5 and 1/10, my denominator is going to be 10. So I'm going to change that to a 10. How do I turn? I turn 5 into 10 by multiplying by 2. So I'll multiply 3 by 2 and I get 6. All right, so that's 6/10 there. And I just turned that into a 2/4 earlier. So that's 2/4 x minus 1/4 x. 2/4 minus 1/4 leaves us with 1/4. So 1/4 x, 6/10 minus 1/10 is plus 5/10. You might say, hey, Mr. Gall, why don't you write that as a half? That's the same thing. Okay, you're right. But I also look at the fact that on this right-hand side over here, I have 7/10. I'm going to have to subtract this over. I know that now. And I don't want to find the common denominator again. Okay, not that it's that hard, but it's just that one more step that I don't want to do. Okay, now how do I undo? I already said, but how do I undo that plus 5/10? Subtract it. Minus 5/10 on both sides. Cross those ones out. 1/4 x equals 7 minus 10, or 7 minus 5 is 2 over 10. Okay. Now remember, to get rid of a fraction, I want to multiply by the reciprocal, 4 over 1 times 4 over 1. So those all cancel out. A lot of canceling. Sweet. And x will be 4 times 2 is 8. Right? Yeah. 4 times 2, did I don't know. I was looking at a different problem and it was messed up. So 4 times 2 is 8. 10 times 1 is 10. 8/10. I could probably reduce that to be x equals, divide that by 2, that's 4. Divide that by 2, it's 5. So 4/5 would be my final answer there. Okay? Pretty awesome. I love it. All right. It looks like a really ugly problem at the start, but geez, the answer is pretty simple. Okay? It just took a lot of work to get there. Go ahead and pause the video, try the next 3 problems. Remember to work with those parentheses and keep everything straight. Okay, welcome back. Hopefully you had a chance to get those problems done. Now, you kind of have 2 options here if you want to. You can distribute. Remember, we talked about distributive property. And then you can combine like terms. I'm going to mix it up a little bit, and we'll see which way you did it. And just know that, obviously, if you do whatever you do correctly, it shouldn't matter which strategy you use. I'm going to do the first one. I won't distribute. Okay. I'm just going to look at the farthest thing away from my variable is this -4. So I'm going to add 4. Plus 4. Bam, bam. Cross those out. Okay, that says plus 8x. That's just 8x now. Or not 8x, but 8 times this stuff. And plus 7. Remember, parentheses are the last thing I do. That's why I added that 4 out there first. That's going to be 120. I'm going to divide by 8 to get rid of that 8. Okay, and I have m plus 7 equals 120 divided by 8. Whew, thank goodness that works out to a nice even 15. Kind of an odd 15, but whatever. Subtract 7 to get that m by itself. Cross those out. M equals 15 minus 7 is 8. Okay, not too bad of a problem, right? We made it work. All right, this time I'm going to simplify the right-hand side like it's just an expression. I'm going to ignore the equal sign and the stuff on the left, and I'm just going to simplify this. Okay, distributive property. Distribute, distribute. I'll have, that's a -16 minus 16p minus 7. I have like terms here and here. And we have -16 minus 7. That's going to be a -23. Put it out in front, minus 16p. Now I bring back that equal sign, -135. Okay? That's a pretty simple problem now, and all it took was kind of 2 steps in the middle. All right? So whichever way you want to do it, it's really similar to this problem over here. Okay, if you notice, I have a number, parentheses with 2 things in it, and a number added or subtracted. I have the same thing here, a number added or subtracted, a number, and parentheses. So it doesn't matter. Whichever way you do it, it's totally up to you, and either way is correct if you perform the steps correctly. All right, I'm going to add the 23 on both sides. I'm just going to check it out real quick. Cross those out. I have a -112 equals -16p. Divide by -16. Use a calculator. I promise it helps out a lot. And we get 7 equals p. Hopefully that's what you got, even if you did it the other way. Okay. This time I'm going to go back to my pretty basic, just divide by that -7 to get rid of it. cross those out, okay? And I'm left with 4n plus 1. I don't need the parentheses, remember. 119 divided by negative 119 divided by negative 7 is a positive 17. I will subtract 1 from both sides. Give me 4n equals, that's a 16. And we can now divide by 4 on both sides. And those cancel out. N equals 16 divided by 4 is 4. Because 4 times 4 is 16. Awesome. Hopefully you got those ones. If you just got the first one, or you got the second one, just recheck what you did. Try to find your mistake. If you don't know your mistake, you can always come and ask me during class. That's what I'm here for. Okay, and I can show you where you messed up. Sometimes it's you did the same operation instead of the inverse, and that's okay. We can fix that. All right, but we have to catch it early and not make it a long-lasting habit. Okay, let's look at this application problem here. It says write and solve the equation described. Okay, and this is a really good skill to turn something that's verbal into symbols and then solve it. -1 is, okay, whenever we're working with writing equations, is means equals. Okay, is means equals. 8 more, all right. Whenever I'm dealing with this more than, I know it's addition, and I'm going to put it afterwards. Okay, 3 times the number, so 3n plus 8. So there's the 8 more, and there's my 3 times the number. All right, we subtract 8. -1 minus 8 is -9 equals 3n. Those go away. Divide by 3. Divide by 3 on both sides. Okay, I'm going to move up here a little bit, give myself some room. And -9 divided by 3 is -3. And that's what n equals, or that's what the number would be. Okay, you might want to say, not real, this isn't really a context type of problem, but you still can. You can just say the number is -3. Okay, if they gave us something like feet or inches or yards, miles, whatever it is, you might want to answer that way, but they don't. So again, well done today. Keep up the good work with solving equations. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Get the problems and the application done. Get them checked. Good luck on the Mastery Challenge. Have a good day. Good job making it through that last video. Now for this one, we had our number 4 at Wiener Dog Tennis. Number 3 is going to be Mirror Pug. So have fun. Pay attention. It's really cool.